The Huskies are back in East Hartford for their first American Athletic Conference game of the season, and we are here to get you ready with Week 4 of the Blitz. I'm Joe D'Ambrosio, the radio voice of the Huskies, here with the head coach, Bob Diaco. And
Joe.
What a great environment on Saturday in Columbia, Missouri, and your team played extremely well in dropping what was a heartbreaking 9-6 decision.
Yeah, you know, I'm not going to co-sign the extremely well because we didn't win.
Right.
And if we played extremely well, we would have won. We had enough execution errors on the road against a good opponent that, you know, it's hard to, you get a punt block, it's hard to win. You know, you get a PAT block, you know, those two special teams runners alone, hard to win. So we need to play cleaner to think we're going to go get that win, and one that's very realistic to get.
You knew your team had mental toughness coming in the way they approached the first two games of the year against Villanova and Army. But did the performance on the road in front of 71,000 show you even more about how mentally tough this team is?
Yeah, I think so. We're going to grow from it. You know, we're going to take every experience. When you're talking about progress, when you're talking about development, you can't help but take every experience and try to collect as many wins from it as you can.
Right.
So the overall score was a loss, but there were a lot of wins present on that weekend. And we need to pull them all out and be sure we carry them with us.
This week, the U.S. Naval Academy comes in, first year in the AAC, started their conference season with an impressive performance against East Carolina. This is kind of a Pepto-Bismol game for the coaching staff.
It's bad, it's hard, they're awesome. They've scored more than half of the total points that we scored in 12 games. They scored in 2. I think we had 180 points last year in 2014, and they've got 93. So it is really, they're a buzzsaw. They're the best team that we've faced up to this point.
Right.
They're outstanding, they're well coached. They do it the right way, they play hard, they're fundamentally sound. They're just a great team.
And they're led by a senior quarterback in Keenan Reynolds, who leads a senior-dominated offense.
Yeah, no, it's not just the 11 either. 9 of the starting 11 are seniors. But when you dig deeper into the 2 deep, it doesn't change. You know, there's probably 18 or 19 seniors of the 22. So it's pretty incredible. You could look at tape from, 2011, 2012, and see these players playing.
Right, and you have that from your time at Notre Dame.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, maybe, just maybe. You've played an option team already in Army. You've played 3 straight quarterbacks who are very mobile in the pocket. How much does all of that affect the kid's ability to prepare for as good a quarterback as Reynolds is?
It's great. It's all positive. Playing in the games is positive, any game. Yeah. And then to play similar style offense is very positive, as long as you don't get injured.
Right.
So if we can get through, the 3 weeks and maintain a pretty good health, at least consistent with the country, it's all positive. And that's where we're at.
And it's always nice to be home.
It's great to be home. Great to be at Pratt Whitney Stadium at the Rent.
Very good. Thanks.
Right.
Good luck.
Thank you.
And for our player profile this week, we are delighted to welcome old number 90, the senior co-captain from Wyoming Area High School, West Pittston, PA, Julian Campenny. Welcome, young man.
Thank you for having me.
Good to have you with us. 3-year starter for the Huskies. You bleed national flag blue and white. Now, what do you like about your defensive line group this year?
I think they're great players. We have a lot of young guys that contribute. They all played a lot. It's not like we have inexperienced guys. And they love to get after and make plays.
Now, you guys played so well last Saturday in Columbia, Missouri, disappointed at the outcome. What do you take out of that game, Jules, to build on for this week and the weeks to come?
Just that we could play anywhere, any team, anytime, Nothing's going to, deteriorate us from what we want to do, and whatever the challenge is, we're excited.
Now, you've already played Army this year. They run the triple option. Navy apparently from the tape runs it better, but how much does that prep for Army help you guys get ready for the challenge of the midshipmen?
It helps us a lot, the fact that guys played against it twice. We know what to expect. We just got to be well prepared going into the game on Saturday.
And the confidence that you guys have now coming off the performance at Missouri, how much does that affect your ability to prepare the right way for this week?
I mean, we've always been confident, but we just know what this week, the challenges we're going to face, and we know what it takes to beat a team like this. So, that's the only boost we really need.
All right, time for one of our favorite segments on the Blitz. It's called 3 and Out.
Okay.
What have you missed the most about being at UConn and not being back in Pennsylvania?
The food. Where I'm from, they call it the pizza capital of
Really?
the world. Yeah. So
now, I talked to Kent Adeyemi on the Coaches Show this week on the radio side, and when I asked him his favorite pizza, and you know this because we talked on the field, he said Domino's. Don't tell me you're a Domino's
Nah,
guy.
absolutely not. There's about 5 or 6 restaurants where I'm from that have the best pizza in the world. So that and Millsworth chips. They're only made in Pennsylvania.
Really?
So, yeah.
So you can get some pizza shipped up for a hardworking video crew?
Absolutely.
Nice, they like
Absolutely.
that. The defensive line has always been a staple of UConn football, guys like Shamar Stephen and people like that. When you look back at guys who preceded you here, who's impressed you the most?
I mean, everyone pretty much. Everybody brought something different to the table. Whether you talk about Trevardo, who was just a freak of nature and could do everything, or Shamar, who was so big and athletic, and then Kendall, who was just a different guy. He was something else. I mean, everybody. I've just been fortunate to play with great players since I've been here.
What's your favorite part, Julian, of game day at Rentschler Field?
Definitely when the whole team runs out and the tunnel, and the crowd erupts. It's the best feeling ever.
Now the coach is pretty fast leading the front of that group, but you're already gone by that time because you walk out with the co-captains. Let's get to the captains, the 4 captains. Which one of you 4 captains is the most presidential? I would say you've got the look.
Yeah, I think I got
of a
the look.
president,
The glasses definitely help.
Sure.
I mean, maybe Andres because he's international.
The long hair and that's
but
presidential.
he's a bow and arrow. He can do everything. He's a handball master. So.
Well, who's the most physical player on the defensive side of the ball?
I have to say myself. I think everyone prides themselves on being physical, but just my position, and I love contact. I never shy away from it.
All right, last question. Now, it's not the NFL, but if this were the NFL, which defensive lineman would have the best sack dance?
I think Jared Allen does. You talking about us?
UConn, for UConn.
Us?
Yeah. I'm sure you'd like to put Jared Allen in this week, but I don't think his eligibility is probably.
I'm gonna say myself too.
Really? You can bust a move?
Yeah, I got some moves, but we can't use them in college, so I have to save them.
Probably best not to use that. Old number 90, the co-captain out of Pennsylvania, Julian Campenny. Thanks, Jules.
Thank you for having me.
This week, UConn returns to Rentschler for the beginning of conference play. But first, we're hitting the streets to find out how much the UConn student body knows about this week's opponent. Who is UConn football playing this week?
We're playing the Navy.
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 We're playing Navy.
We are the UConn Huskies. What is Navy's mascot?
The midshipmen.
I want to say the midshipmen.
The midshipmen.
A seal.
They are the midshipmen.
Correct. Navy was an independent football school up until this year. They did not have an athletic conference that they were a part of, except they do this year. What conference is that?
The American.
The American Athletic League.
The American.
The American.
The American Conference.
Here's a tricky one. Which NBA Hall of Famer famously went to Navy?
I don't know anything about basketball.
Oh, David Robinson.
David Robinson.
That's David Robinson.
UConn football is taking on Navy this Saturday at noon. Who's going to win?
UConn.
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 Obviously, UConn.
UConn. Husky Nation.
And now time to go inside the press box with my longtime friend from the Waterbury Republican American, Ed Daniel. You were there at Columbia on Saturday. What was your biggest takeaway from the UConn performance?
The defense can be really, really special. Offensively, clearly there are still issues, still can't score, but that defense, it stayed in its lanes, it was where it needed to be and really impacted the game and gave UConn a chance to win, which I think will be the story of the year.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people went into that game thinking that this was the game that any shortcomings would be exposed, but I thought all 3 phases of the defense, D-line had its moments. Certainly the linebackers played well. The secondary has been good all season. To me, just the continuity of the defense against a team that looks not the 21st ranked team in the country, let's be honest, was a very impressive thing.
Certainly. Missouri has offensive issues. That Missouri offense is not what people know it to be, and it may not be this year, I don't know. But still, it doesn't matter the opponent at this point in the process of the program. It matters how it performs, how that defense performs, and it was excellent.
There's been so much talk about the final play on the offensive side of the game, and I thought Coach Diaco had a pretty good response in the media session on Tuesday where he said if he had a do-over, he would run the offense back out on the field and run a play, and I think that's what most of the fans would say.
Certainly. I don't think any fans are upset about going for it. You don't go on the road in SEC country against a ranked team to tie the game. You go with what you have. I thought he should have brought the offense out only because the offense got down there and gave him an opportunity. It was a bit of a strange call. I liked it. It showed a lot of guts. But certainly, obviously throwing the offense back out there might have been a better chance.
This week, the stakes get a whole lot tougher, even though it's back at home against the Navy team. And Keenan Reynolds, who, let's be honest, if he played at a Power 5 school, would be a Heisman Trophy candidate.
Sure. Yeah, and you have to deal with the triple option again, which is nothing easy to do, and you got to do it, as Coach Diaco said earlier, at a much higher level. This is a much bigger team, stronger team. They're much more used to running that triple option than Army was. So this is a much bigger challenge than UConn's faced so far.
Has there anything, Eddie, final question, through the first 3 games that has changed your opinion on what the final outcome of the season could be for UConn?
I have to go back to the defense because it's been very consistent. It has, and what the defensive staff wants it to do is keep teams from scoring, and it's done that. As soon as the offense comes around, if the offense comes around, I think the team will be pretty good. That defense is really a consistent thing and something now that Coach Diaco and the rest of the staff can count on, which is not something that was present last year, year before that, or year before that. Now they're back to having a consistent UConn defense that's going to keep that team in games.
All right, you can follow Ed on Twitter at Daniel. I'll let you try to figure out how to spell it. And to make it much easier, you can read him in the Waterbury Republican American. Thanks, Eddie. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now, don't forget, the Huskies and the U.S. Naval Academy will come your way starting at noon on Saturday. It's on CBS Sports Network. We allow you to watch the game, but turn down the sound and listen to the UConn IMG Sports Network. For myself, Wayne Norman, and Casey Cochran will be filling in for the diminutive one, Kevin Nathan, on the sidelines. For the great crew here at UConn Video and for all of our guests, I'm Joe D'Ambrosio. Thanks for watching The Blitz.